Hey, and thank you so much for tuning in here to All Access Pass. I'm your cruise host, Jason Venner, and I hope you're ready for another great show. Now, today, we are going to feature one of your favorite bands from the good old days in the Flower Power era. Do me a favor and welcome to the stage, Jefferson Starship. Yeah, wherever you'd like. First and foremost, thanks for being with us. Thank you for being here. We do love it. We do appreciate it.
Great.
Yeah, no, we love having you.
Check.
You're on. Okay.
Check.
Yeah.
Testing. More kick drum.
You want a little more bass, please? Do us a favor and please start at the end and come on down. Tell everybody your name and maybe how long you've been in the group. You're on. You're good.
The microphone, yeah.
You're hot. You're hot.
Chris Smith, keyboards. Been with him since 1998. 18 years?
Yeah. All right, Chris.
That long? Yeah.
18 years for Chris.
Yeah.
My name's Donny Baldwin. I did the band through most of the 80s. Came back in 05, and time flies.
Thank you, Donny.
Hey, I'm David, and let's see, I joined Jefferson Airplane in 1972 after I left Quicksilver Messenger Services, one of those other old bands that Then I left in 1985 because it wasn't what I was doing. Anyway, so I didn't build that city. I left. And then I came back, and now I'm here again. And I've been here for about 12 years now.
12 more years. All
12 more
right.
years, yeah.
Thank you, David. Last but not least, steal David's microphone. Sorry.
I'm the baby of the group. My name's Rachel Rose. I've only been with the group for a couple of months.
Months.
now.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I'm really the baby.
You
of the
are
group.
the baby.
If you couldn't tell.
What are you trying to say about David?
We're siblings. What are you
Is that
talking
what that
about?
was? Well, thank you for being a part of this. We appreciate
Of
it.
course, I love these guys, and I'm just happy to be able to make music with them.
That's a very cool thing. Very cool thing for you.
And we love her.
Yeah. So I guess I'd like to start things off, and no offense to Chris and Rachel, but in the middle there, to start things off, I like to start kind of back at the beginning.
Talk to old guys.
I like to start at the beginning. I like to start at the beginning of this. You started with Airplane. Now, Jefferson Airplane, of course, was the initial name of the band, loosely said, because it's a couple branches, I guess, now.
Oh,
but
yeah, there's branches.
tell us a little bit about the bringing together of Jefferson Airplane and how it became Jefferson Starship. Would you tell us a little bit about the band? And
Whoa, okay. Well, there were a bunch of shifts in the band all the way through. I mean, the original singer was Signe Anderson, and then she left, and Grace Slick came in. And let's see, what else happened?
nothing else.
Marty Ballin left the band, which was good for me because I had left Quicksilver Messenger Service, and I needed a gig, and there it was with my old buddy Paul Kantner, who I'd known since 1962. Well, we were all, yeah. And so he asked me to come in and sing, and so I got in there. And that was right about at the time that everybody felt like they were going different directions, and Yorman Jack ran off and became Hot Tuna, and Grace and Paul and I made a few solo albums, what were strange, eclectic albums that are still out there. But I like them. You can find them. One's called Baron von Tollbooth, and the other one is called Baron von Tollbooth and the Chrome Nun and Manhole. So then we needed some... Is that a double entendre?
What was going on at that era?
Free love.
Yeah. Something about a chrome nun and a manhole cover. I don't know what happened.
Those were David Crosby's nicknames for Paul and Grace. Baron von Tollbooth, yeah. And she was the Chrome Nun, so. And I was the guy on the end there. So.
You didn't make it into the title of that album.
No, but I got producing credit, so I'm also.
So that's fine. Yeah. Your royalties still rolling. Now, obviously, the obvious moment in the room would be to say, on behalf of, I'm sure, all of this audience and anyone watching, and of course anyone on this cruise, we're very, very, very sorry to hear about the loss of Paul. And
just a little over a month ago,
just so
Paul
recently
passed away.
Good friend.
Yeah.
You've known him since the 1960s. Would you mind recounting a little bit about your days
man.
with Paul?
He was. There has never been a more unique human being than Paul Kantner. He was.
Yeah.
Please. I'm gonna break into tears in a second, but he was my very best friend, the oldest friend I have in the world, and now he's gone. But I feel him still here, and and everybody that was in Jefferson Airplane from the beginning thought that Paul really was the impetus that made. He might have been the greatest guitar player or the greatest singer, but he was the impetus. He loved to have people sing harmony, which is one of my great loves, because we were both folk singers back before. We were folk singers until we heard the Beatles. Now, and here we are. Abbey Road. Yeah. So that it was his idea to have a girl singer and two guys singing with him. That his favorite group was the Weavers back in this.
Sure.
He loved
Yeah,
Pete Seeger
funny
and the
enough, I know the
Weavers.
Weavers,
Yeah.
yeah.
So basically, we are a continuation of Pete Seeger and the Weavers. So
Have you, as a group, performed since you lost Paul?
yes.
Okay.
Actually, Paul was in rather ill health for the last few years, and he wanted us to go out and play even if he was in the hospital. So he trained us well for handling this for some reason. So we have a wonderful band that really enjoys playing together, and he really loved it too, and he wanted us to continue. So we are continuing. We will not stop. And there's a song he wrote called "Lightning Rose" that has this line in it: "Carry the fire." And so that's what we're doing.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
You carry the fire. It wasn't surprising to me, but I think it was a blessing to know that you were still going to come on the cruise. After the loss, even though you said he'd been ill for a couple of years, and of course you'd still been performing, but after the loss, I'm sure that took a toll. So being here, I think I speak again on behalf of everyone when I say thank you so much for dedicating your time and effort. Truly.
Thank you so much. Yes. Well, each one of our performances is dedicated to him for the rest of our lives. We know that. So
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, the band started in San Francisco. Am I correct with that?
Yes, sir.
And you were kind of you were known as a band for I should say, Jefferson Airplane was known as a band for doing the free concerts, the Haight-Ashbury. You were kind of the symbol of it in a lot of ways. What was it like?
I think all the San Francisco bands were
Sure.
doing that. The Grateful Dead, Quicksilver Messenger Service. We all played probably more free gigs than we got paid for back when we started. I mean, it was we'd love to go out to Golden Gate Park and just kind of set up and get a flatbed truck and a couple little PA and start screaming at people.
And in 1974, you transitioned from Jefferson Airplane to Jefferson Starship. 74?
Yeah. The base
74.
74. Yeah, the basis of that transformation was when we finished Grace's solo album called Manhole.
Manhole.
We hadn't played. We had kind of waited around to see if Jefferson Airplane would get back together, but it didn't seem likely that was going to happen. So we said, well, we better promote this album. We better go out and play. Besides, we haven't played any gigs. We want to go play. We're musicians and singers. We have to go out and sing. So Paul had this solo album called "Blows Against the Empire," which was about hijacking the Starship.
Yeah.
Great album. And it had pretty much everybody, all of Paul's friends: David Crosby, Graham Nash, Jerry Garcia, me, and all of the Airplane was on it, and several other people. It was just eclectic and a beautiful little loose tale about a bunch of hippies stealing the world's first starship and going out and populating outer space.
So it was it was factual. It was factual song. Yeah, factual.
And on that album, on the front, he named the people that were playing on it, and he called them Jefferson Starship Crew. And so when we went out to play, it was obvious what we should call the new band. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. On that same note, there's a lot. I've heard 3 or 4 different. wives' tales, folk stories. Wrap it up for us. Why was it called Jefferson Airplane? Be honest now.
I believe this might be the actual real story.
Like how I did that?
But I don't know because I just heard it somewhere myself.
Yeah, everyone's just heard it somewhere else.
But
yeah.
I know all the people that. And anyway, Jorma Kalkinen, the lead guitar player, had a friend who liked making up phony names of old blues singers, and that was what was Blind Jefferson Airplane was one of them, and so perhaps that's where it came from. And it sounded ridiculous. I mean, Quicksilver Messenger Service, give me a break. You know.
A lot of the names are pretty
Yeah,
fantastic from that.
They didn't have to really mean anything, I think.
I'm sure everyone was of sound body and mind making all those decisions. I have no doubt. Stay tuned, my friends and family. We'll be right back with more Jefferson Starship.
Thank you.
Oh, hi. Micky Delenz of the Monkees here, getting ready to host the Flower Power Cruise.
We had so much fun on the Flower Power Cruise 2016 that we're doing it again. Join us as we take the love generation back to the high seas and relive the 60s like never before. Celebrate that unbelievable time in our history with the phenomenal music that made it so special. There'll be more than 35 live performances by Eric Burden and the Animals, Chad and Jeremy, Micky Dolenz, the Monkees lead singer and celebrity cruise host, The Fifth Dimension, The Lovin' Spoonful, Rare Earth, Spencer Davis, Three Dog Night, The Yardbirds, and many more. Imagine enjoying all that great music on the fabulous Celebrity Summit, leaving Fort Lauderdale February 27th, 2017, and making ports of call in Falmouth, Jamaica, and Nassau, Bahamas. We'll bring you back to the days of bell-bottoms, tie-dye t-shirts, peace signs, and so much more, with special themed events, including a super groovy costume ball, a bell-bottom blast, and a psychedelic 60s dance party, along with more than 20 fun-filled celebrity interactive events. So come on, join the fun. Relive the era you remember so well. Come visit our sales reps on board and reserve your cabin now at exclusive low onboard rates. Cabins are going quickly, so don't wait. Let your freak flag fly. You don't want to miss the grooviest trip at sea.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back. Here we are with more Jefferson Starship. Now, as you can see, we have multiplied up here on stage. This handsome man, this is.
Hi, my name is Jude Gold. I was up at the dance party up there in the pool. You guys are missing out. I mean, what's going on here?
Who the hell are these guys? Yeah, go on. And Jude, what instrument do you play, sir?
I play lead guitar.
Lead guitar. And how long have you been with the band, sir?
I've been to 23 countries.
23 countries.
Which translates into about 3.5 years. So
you guys are touring a lot. Wow, that tells you what you guys are doing. We were talking a little bit about the history of Jefferson Airplane and Jefferson Starship, and now we're going to kind of expand it a little bit. Donny, when did you say you joined, sir? You joined?
I joined the band probably, at the end of 81, right after Winds of Change record.
And tell us a little bit about kind of the process then, because you got it shifted gears a little bit as a band as well. You didn't quite play the same stuff.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't anything to do with the Jefferson Airplane style. I grew up in San Francisco. I was totally aware of the band. Played with a lot of different musicians that were kind of in the next generation of what that band was all about. Is this working?
Oh yeah, you're on.
Check 1 2.
You're hot.
And with the Dead and the Airplane and Quicksilver and just a lot of bands, early Santana. I was kind of in the 10-year process after that fact of playing with. At that time, I was with the Elvin Bishop Band. And
true fans, I like it.
Yeah, well,
he played on Fooled Around and Fell in Love.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
Yeah, that was a great record. That song was the last song we put on that record. There was a country shuffle. Elvin was from Tulsa, via Chicago as a blues guy. Yeah. So
that lady's heard of Tulsa.
It was a very strange. Anyway, long story short, a lot of different bands, and I was also doing this thing out of San Francisco called Gideon and Power, which had the connection of Elvin through Mickey Thomas, through getting Mickey into now called the Jefferson Starship, calling me saying, "We need you, come." So I went over there and played with the boys, and it was just.
It was magic.
It was really. It was just
Really,
a
it was.
I just remember I had a 240Z at the time. I was living down the peninsula from San Francisco, and just really working hard with Elvin. We were doing 230 days a year, and we were signed to a Southern label, so we were with the Allman Brothers and all these crazy cowboys, man. And so I got in my car after we did the, I guess, audition. I think I was basically the last guy to come in. And I just remember if it was either David or Paul. I think it was Paul. And Paul had this unique voice, very low, welcome to the family. So I just remember getting in my car and getting on Highway 101, rolling the window down and just screaming like somebody had raped me, It was just.
I'm sorry, I don't know what that scream sounds like. I've got to be quite honest.
Let me rephrase that.
Thank you.
I was very, very happy, and I was.
Which I don't think is what that scream sounds like, to be quite honest.
Well, I don't know. I just know when I screamed, I kind of looked around and kind of. I hope I didn't scare anybody because the cars kind of went like this. I was just really excited. It was a great moment for me, and so we started our journey together. Me on drums, and. What can I say about the band? I mean, the band has had some different faces in it, of course. It's hard emotionally right now. I think for me, I know it is. Losing Paul. Paul was there in the beginning, and when you're in Paul's life, Paul has a saying, welcome to my playground. And
That's very cool.
I want to say to Paul, thanks for inviting me.
That's very,
It
very
was
cool.
it was just like David said, he was a man that lived in somewhat of his own bubble. I played with a band, the Eddie Money Band, which no relation to each personality, but when somebody is kind of in their own thing, it's hard to get close to them sometimes.
Sure.
But over the years, the relationship that I had with PK was very unique, and Paul always had a way of getting what he needed to say to you somehow, some way, in a different way. And that was the PK I miss.
Easy, Donny.
Donny, I want you to play more top hat. Top hat? Paul, it's called a hi-hat. No, more top hat.
And you just say yes.
And
You
so,
just, fine, more top hat it
I
is.
stayed in the band until 89. Almost 10 years. And then I actually went with Garcia for 3 years, almost 3 years. And did Jerry's band, which was a total disconnect of the Grateful Dead. Did a lot of stuff around the Bay Area with Eddie and Van Morrison. And I think in 04, 05, I was getting some calls about they were using Prairie Prince on drums from the Tubes and Todd Rundgren, great drummer. To come in, and Prairie had some other things going on, so it was, it was like a full circle. This is my second tour of duty.
Yeah, we both kind of came in at the same time, so.
That's
Came
fantastic.
back.
And I've been doing it ever since, and it's just a good thing, Life is moving pretty quick, and you kind of look at it differently. And
What are you guys doing now? Like, what is on Jefferson Starship's resume right at the moment? Their
What do we
current
play?
Yeah, no, not what do you play. Where are you going? Where are you touring? What are you doing these days? I mean, obviously you're
well,
on.
we're
cruise ship.
doing we're probably doing about 70 to 80 shows a year.
70 to 80. Wow.
We're getting ready to go overseas to Scandinavia, Finland, and Denmark, and
Oslo.
Times Square, some really exotic places.
Very international. Yeah, that's. Jude, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you. Thanks for coming in, buddy.
Jude, did you have a couple drinks up there?
Yeah. They said you were off hunting ladies, possibly.
Oh, that's hilarious. But yeah, the singles bar, I think, 11:30?
Yeah.
See you guys.
He's already got that written on his hand. So 11:30, singles club.
It's lonely being on a cruise ship, like everyone's with their They're.
You've been here 6 hours, man. What are you talking about?
I gotta get the blues licks happening, man. I'm gonna play some blues for y'all.
Got it. Okay. It's very lonely in the 4 hours I've been on board. Clearly you need to rehearse or something. I don't know. I got to get you busy. So how do you join as the baby? How are you only with the group a couple of months? Tell us about your entry into this, please.
Well, pretty much I was brought in by Paul a few weeks before my first gig with him, which was actually the day after Thanksgiving in Las Vegas. That was terrifying. Wonderful, but terrifying. And I guess I did well enough, and here I am.
Yes.
Hell of a story. Hell of a story. That's. And you obviously you said you've been around for a while. 18, forgive me, 18 years. 18 years. What's it been like for you coming into an established unit? And even though there's been changes, but being around for so long, you've probably seen some changes yourself.
I believe when I started, it was a completely different set of characters that we have here, and both bands are amazing. This is my family. I love these guys.
Oh, that's great.
We miss Paul so much. Yeah. And when I joined, Paul said, "Just impress the out of me."
Oh.
And
say
years
that?
later, I reminded him of that, and he
We'll
goes,
fix that in post.
And he said, "Well, you must have." So, yeah. And here we are. And
He said truck.
Thank you, Paul.
He said truck.
Yeah. This is.
Yeah, it does. This is the most familiar. This feels more like a family than any band I've ever been in.
That's
And
very.
it feels more like it now.
That's very cool. That's got to be what it's all about, right? I mean, it's one thing to go to work every day. It's not work if you're going there with your family.
It definitely helps.
Yeah,
Are
it's
you
got to
kidding?
make it easier, especially when you're traveling all over the world.
Yeah, it's basically our second family.
Yeah, I kind of like once you're in it, even if you leave, you're still in the family.
They pull you
You
back
can
in.
come back. Yeah, you can. They keep pulling me back.
We are going to come back in just a moment, and we're going to open things up to the audience to have their chance to ask some questions of you. So sit tight. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back with more Jefferson Starship.
Hi, Joe Johnson here. This cruise is a blast. The music, the feeling, the ship, the friends we've made on board. What a great adventure. Well, you're going to be thrilled when I tell you about the lineup for next year's Flower Power Cruise.
We had so much fun on the Flower Power Cruise 2016 that we're doing it again. Join us as we take the love generation back to the high seas and relive the 60s like never before. Celebrate that unbelievable time in our history with the phenomenal music that made it so special. There'll be more than 35 live performances by Eric Burden and the Animals, Chad and Jeremy, Micky Dolenz, the Monkees lead singer and celebrity cruise host, The Fifth Dimension, The Lovin' Spoonful, Rare Earth, Spencer Davis, Three Dog Night, The Yardbirds, and many more. Imagine enjoying all that great music on the fabulous Celebrity Summit, leaving Fort Lauderdale February 27th, 2017, and making ports of call in Falmouth, Jamaica, and Nassau, Bahamas. We'll bring you back to the days of bell-bottoms, tie-dye t-shirts, peace signs, and so much more, with special themed events, including a super groovy costume ball, a bell-bottom blast, and a psychedelic 60s dance party, along with more than 20 fun-filled celebrity interactive events. So come on, join the fun. Relive the era you remember so well. Come visit our sales reps on board and reserve your cabin now at exclusive low onboard rates. Cabins are going quickly, so don't wait. Let your freak flag fly. You don't want to miss the grooviest trip at sea.
Welcome back. Here we are with a little bit more from Jefferson Starship. Now, as I already explained to the band and as I already explained to our studio audience here, every single one of All Access Pass shows, we like to use the last section to break down what we in the business call the fourth wall. The fourth wall, of course, is what separates the audience from those of us on stage. And to break that down, before every show, we run out there and we give you a chance to ask your questions of the band. In my hand, I have a handful of questions we received from the crowd, and I will ask, and anyone can answer, fire away. Fred from Delaware wants to know, What was your worst and best shows in memory? What were your best and worst shows in memory? And if you remember, why?
Where are you?
If you remember how.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know, man. Wow.
Oh, Jude. Go ahead. You weren't there, but what?
I was.
Oh. Where were you?
You can't really call it a show.
That's why you didn't remember instantly.
No, we were in Germany at this beautiful amphitheater on the hills above the Rhine River, and right in the middle of where all the Liebfraumilch comes from, you know, and Grace got sick, and she couldn't come out and play, and I was the only member of the band that came out to the amphitheater, and I tried to talk them into we got Marty Ballin, we got me, we got you, Paul. We can play. You know, it won't be the same, but these people have been sitting out in the rain for 2 days waiting for, you know. Well, maybe I'm exaggerating a bit.
It was 3. It was 3 days. Yeah, he wasn't good.
And so the Paul said the Rolling Stones don't play without Mick Jagger, and I said, well, but Mick Jagger's the only singer we have. But he was adamant. He says that we will be cheating them if Grace isn't there, and he refused to come out. And then if he didn't come out, Marty wouldn't come out, and I had to go up with the promoter and tell them, and immediately beer bottles started coming. Then they went into a total riot, and they hustled us backstage, and there ended up being a huge bonfire on the stage with all the drums, all the PA, everything that was wood, everything that was burned, and it was complete destruction.
And that was just the promoter. The guests were fine.
Now tell us about your worst gig.
And Altamont was pretty strange, too. I don't know if you know about Altamont.
Tell us.
Well, I wasn't in. Actually, I was in Quicksilver when we did that, and we didn't play there, but I went out to watch it, so I can't. It doesn't really count. No, somebody got killed in the audience. The Hells Angels were the.
Yep.
You know, the Hells Angels were the security force. Oh, who thought that one up? Yeah.
Alberto, all the way from Mexico, is with us here, and he would like to know, in David's opinion, which is their very best album? Which is the best album?
I know one of our roadies, he always said, what's your favorite song? And he always says, the last one. No. The favorite album? Oh, good Lord. It's easy for me. I could say my favorite Jefferson Airplane album was Surrealistic Pillow, because I wore but it wasn't. I wasn't on it, so. But I listened to it so much that it's ingrained in my brain, and we do a lot of songs from Surrealistic Pillow, so it's really good songs on that one.
Harold, all the way from Southern Cal, wants to know, other than the obvious hit songs, which is your most fun to do? Which one do you guys enjoy doing the most?
Obvious hit song.
It can be a hit song.
I think this band, since I've been in the band, it's always been fun to do a song called Find Your Way Back. Jane, which David wrote, is a great song to play. One of my favorite songs. I'm an old classic rocker, so I love that stuff. And, Paul always had a couple of really beautiful songs that we would play. So, but the rock stuff, Jane and Find Your Way Back. As far as Jefferson Starship.
As far as Starship goes?
Yeah.
Last time I did an interview, a great question came from the audience. We didn't get it, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Everybody has their favorite songs. Everyone gets always asked all the time, what's your favorite song? What's your least favorite song to do? What's the song? And it could be a hit song, because most of the artists honestly usually say one of their hit songs. They're just tired of doing it. Do you have any songs or any numbers that you're kind of like, yeah, we'll do it, but it's not? Look at David. Look at David. David's like, yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking about it, because we have some, obviously. Like White Rabbit, that we probably have to play every single set. But
everyone loves it.
I'm still not tired of it. I don't know.
We love it every night.
So is tough. I mean, you know.
And I don't think the question is meant to say, like, is there a song you think is bad? It's just like, almost like a White Rabbit or something like that. Yeah, you have to play it every single time. You're kind of like, here we go.
There's so much material in this band. We don't
fair
get
enough.
tired. We can choose different
can
stuff
leave it
all
out
the
for a
time.
Somebody
while,
to
yeah.
love.
Any song that's that popular, you have to give it to the people every night.
You bet, and you better enjoy it while you're doing it. Right?
And we do. We love doing it.
No, I feel you feel it from the audience that they really want to hear that song, and there's no way you won't enjoy playing it if somebody's enjoying hearing it. You know.
Ah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I think it was Chubby Checker who I was interviewing one time said, you know, I love the twist, but I get tired of the twist. And I thought that was hilarious. It's the song the man is known for, just about above anything. He's like, you know, it just reaches
ruin
its
your
point.
hips.
Yeah, fair enough. The huckabuck. Mark, all the way from Raleigh, wants to know, how often and how long do you rehearse?
Rehearse?
It's a thing you do before a show.
We come from the school of Paul Kantner.
Yeah. What's rehearsal?
Rehearsal, yeah.
Never.
Paul would have a rehearsal, and we come over and we get through the first verse, and he says, "Well, that's pretty good. Okay, we're done."
And he would
finish the
leave. And we're kind of sitting there, right?
And he's done. He's like, we're all right. We're all right.
Well, it keeps you on your toes because it's not, if you don't rehearse it, you're never going to play it the same way twice, which is kind of a plus in a way.
We do a lot of that at soundcheck. If we have anything to go over, we'll just do
Yeah,
it
we can
before the
play
show.
the sound check. We have had rehearsals, but I could count them on.
On a fist. Well done, yeah. Alan and Terry from Parker, Colorado said, we saw you play at the Pace in Parker, Colorado a couple years back, and you look like you're really enjoying the smaller venue. So, in your opinion as a band, which is more fun to play, the large venues or the small, intimate venues? What do you enjoy more?
I enjoy it all. Now, that feels like I'm copping out. But
A little bit, but that's all right.
I guess I am. I don't know it, but it's always, larger. It's just more impersonal playing huge venues, and it's been a while since we played huge venues. I mean, I must say, really, which is kind of a blessing. I mean, playing a nice, 4,000 or 5,000 people would be what we'd think is huge right now. But we had a good time. We played a festival in Minnesota last year where I guess there were about 15,000 some people there, and I must say I enjoyed that. So,
have you been down to see our theater here on board that we're using, the different theaters and venues? I think that's one of the great things about the cruise, to be quite honest, and I'm sure the audience will be able to agree. There's an intimacy on board that every venue, I mean, even here in the venue where we're doing our interview, it's small. It's very personal. People get to be close to you as performers and entertainers, and those that have listened to you all their lives. And, I grew up with you in my house. I'm not kidding at all. I grew up with Jefferson Airplane in my house, predominantly in Jefferson Starship as it moved on, obviously. But it's very neat. It's very cool to be close to it. It's very cool to be in the same proximity as it. And I think that's one of the great things about doing these cruises is there's entertainers everywhere, and you're always in the proximity of some type of greatness, and you're certainly a part of that. So
it's my first one. I plan on being in.
You've never been in the band before? Welcome. We're glad to have you. This is your first gig? Is this?
No. I mean, cruise.
Yeah. Your first cruise ever?
My first cruise ever.
He's doing great. He's
Doing all right. Yeah. Yeah. Motion of the ocean. Nothing's getting to you yet. You're all right.
I don't. Oh.
Yeah.
No. Everything's fine.
Michael, all the way, I'm not sure where Michael's from. Michael says, did any of you write the lyrics to White Rabbit? And if so, what was the state of the mind of the person who did?
You're talking about Grace Slick. She wrote the words to White Rabbit. Actually, she wrote it while she was in a band called The Great Society, which she was in with her ex-husband and brother-in-law. I think Jerry and Darby Slick were both in that band. And then they were breaking up, and just in time because Jefferson Airplane needed a singer, and so fate, it's always handy to not have a job when somebody needs. You know what I mean? Be in the right place at the right time and needing work is always really good. So San Francisco is the place to be, Anyway, so she wrote it. And it's obviously intimating psychedelic drugs. But also intimated in Alice in Wonderland, because very strange things happen. Eat me. It was a mushroom. Come on.
You know, as a host,
feed your head.
Yeah, as a host, every now and then, all the lines line up that you can say, and you have to go, no, doesn't work. No,
not right.
Can't use that one. No, not good for camera.
Like I'm not a host.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll remember that one. I've got to say, honestly and truly, thank you so much for being here and taking the time to take this cruise. It means a lot to have you guys here.
Our definite pleasure. Thank you.
Especially after the recent, after you've been through recently, I know it probably took some. There was probably a discussion at some point to decide whether or not to do it. And I know on behalf of all of the people that put this cruise together, we're extremely excited to have you. And as a fan of music, and as one that I consider myself the voice of the people in this regard, we're very, very excited. So excited for this week. Do me a favor, help me thank our fantastic guest, Jefferson Starship.
Thanks, Jason.
I'm your host, Jason. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't miss tomorrow. More guests back on All Access Pass. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you out and about.
Oh, hi. Micky Dolenz of the Monkees here, getting ready to host the Flower Power Cruise.
We had so much fun on the Flower Power Cruise 2016 that we're doing it again. Join us as we take the love generation back to the high seas and relive the 60s like never before. Celebrate that unbelievable time in our history with the phenomenal music that made it so special. There'll be more than 35 live performances by Eric Burden and the Animals, Chad and Jeremy, Micky Dolenz, the Monkees lead singer and celebrity cruise host, The Fifth Dimension, The Lovin' Spoonful, Rare Earth, Spencer Davis, Three Dog Night, The Yardbirds, and many more. Imagine enjoying all that great music on the fabulous Celebrity Summit, leaving Fort Lauderdale February 27th, 2017, and making ports of call in Falmouth, Jamaica, and Nassau, Bahamas. We'll bring you back to the days of bell-bottoms, tie-dye t-shirts, peace signs, and so much more, with special themed events, including a super groovy costume ball, a bell-bottom blast, and a psychedelic 60s dance party, along with more than 20 fun-filled celebrity interactive events. So come on, join the fun. Relive the era you remember so well. Come visit our sales reps on board and reserve your cabin now at exclusive low onboard rates. Cabins are going quickly, so don't wait. Let your freak flag fly. You don't want to miss the grooviest trip at sea.